Hey, welcome back to the channel this week. This week's episode is, as I say often, is a little bit different. I'm going to be ragging on a brand new camera, which I usually don't do. Fujifilm just announced their brand new X100 and I gotta say from the outset it looks pretty good, but you know, I started thinking about it, and for only $100 more you can get the XT5 right here. Of course, you'd still have to buy the 23F2, which is, you know, probably used about $300 or so. So the outlay is a little bit different. I'm going to be out roaming around taking some photographs here. There's a lot of interesting stuff over here at Granite Pier in Rockport. So hang with me while I go over the pros and cons of the X100. At the outset, it looked pretty nice. It looks like it's a pretty nice camera. It's really blowing out here, so hopefully you won't be getting too much wind noise. I've got it in back of me. So the main thing is that this XT5, it's inside the X100. And the way I look at it is that if you own one of these things, there's no reason to get an X100. Absolutely no reason at all. Because the guts of this thing right here are inside the 100. Okay, so let's find some things to photograph over here at Granite Pier. There's some pretty cool things. I mean, this is actually pretty cool too. Here, I think I'm going to shoot this first. Boy, that was neat. that was actually kind of cool. So here you go. Here's the biggest problem with JPEGs, and that is this blown clipped highlight over here on the outside of this line. Let's talk a little bit about this X100. It's a great camera. Basically the same thing as the X100V or 5, whatever you want to call it. The difference is the sensor is the same as the XT5. The IBIS is the same, and the processor is the same. Now, if you ask me, why don't you just get a XT5? So let's look at the pros of this particular new camera. And I got to tell you, there's some nice features in here, but really nothing that I'm going to write home about, except for one thing: the hybrid viewfinder. You're now going to be able to get all that electronic information that you would get with your EVF. You're going to get around the optical viewfinder, so you're going to be able to see everything that's going on, plus you can be able to see all the information that you normally get with your EVF. So it's a hybrid. I really like that feature. You know, I just wish the optical viewfinder was in my XT5, but it's not. Now, of course, it's lighter, smaller form factor, and you can really use it for outside street photography or when you're traveling. Much better for that than an XT5, because you can almost fit the thing in a pocket. I know I could fit it in my jacket pocket here. Now, the other thing that's really cool about this is that they've decided to add one more film simulation, Rela Ace. What the heck is that? You know, some of you people are going to be able to tell me what it is, but I don't really know. The other cool thing that it does is it connects to Frame.io, the cloud service. Now, that's pretty neat in itself, although I can pretty much do that with iCloud, going into my phone and then out to iCloud. So it doesn't really matter. I can do that with my XT5. So here's my next shot here. Try not to get that boat in the background there, but it's gonna be similar to this right here. Ooh, I like that one. That's a good one. I like that. Now this shot here was made with my Ostia profile, and with the low light like this and the yellow color, it came out awesome. So let's go and look at the cons of this particular new camera. I've given you most of them. It's got the guts of the X-T5, except that it doesn't have a bigger battery. It also doesn't have 2 card slots with UHS 2. It's still got UHS 1. And of course that small battery I just mentioned. Wow. Now for me, here's another big one. The 3-way tilt screen. You get a little bit more tilt with the X106 than you did with the X105 or X100V, whatever you want to call it. But honestly, I'm going to take my 3-way tilt on my X-T5 every day. Now how about the new lens? Oh no, it's not a new lens, is it? Excuse me, I just got to watch where I'm walking here. The lens is the old lens. Or I should say the version 2 lens. I guess they decided not to upgrade anymore. No real need to do that if it's a pretty decent lens. It's probably a little bit better than what I've got on my X-T5 here, the 23f2, which is a great lens in my opinion. Some people don't agree with me, but yeah, hey, that's just my opinion. So really the video specs are kind of inferior to the X-T5, unfortunately. But you know, really the biggest thing here is the big difference between the two. The big difference is one's smaller and lighter. But what I'm driving at here is that unfortunately the IBIS, the autofocus, and many other things are just the same as the X-T5. So let's go find some more photographs over here at Granite Pier. You know, all the traps are out for the winter. Got a lot of line roaming around, a lot of buoys and everything. So there's got to be something good to make a photograph of. Look how bright these suckers are. Holy moly. Ooh, that's gonna be a cool picture. Look at that. I'm gonna have to make a shot of that right now. So I think I've got my camera set on Mercury Kodachrome by Fuji X Weekly. We'll see how that works out. Now the Astia profile shot of this here was even brighter than this. Can you imagine being brighter than this? But the Mercury Kodachrome profile made it look a little bit better. So are you guys all locked in on this X106? I love the fact that there's limited quantities available. Come on, Fuji, have a bunch of them made. You know it's going to sell out. That kind of bothers me. Now, some other things that camera has, you know, it's got built-in ND filters, which is kind of cool, but I'm pretty sure that came with the X100V as well. The other thing that it's got is what the X-T5 has, which is the 1.4 and the 2.0 teleconverters built in. And that's pretty cool if you only got one lens. Problem with that is if you decide that you want to use the 2.0, you're going to go down to a very small JPEG. That's kind of a waste of time if you ask me. So I'm going to be very honest with you. I think that Fuji has probably hit a home run with this. And that's because, you know, every influencer in the world has to have one. I'm not really an influencer, so I don't really care, but you know, it's like the poor man's Leica Q. Personally, I'd rather have a Leica Q3 than a X106, but I'm not going to spend the money for one of those things. Oh my Lord. But as you can see, the X106 really is an X-T5 stuffed into a smaller, lighter body with one lens. So if you ask me, that's not worth the money at all. If you've got these other cameras, if you're going to buy one camera, and I've said this before in a comment to someone, if you're going to have, if you've got another kit, or you have a full Fuji kit, then why would you buy one? If you have an X-T5, for instance. If you've got a full Canon kit or a full Nikon kit, then maybe it's worth it to get one of these just to travel with, or just to go out and do street shooting with, instead of carrying around all the big camera gear. So there are some advantages to it, but honestly, not for me at all. So I'm not gonna buy an X106. So let's go find some more photographs over here at Granite Pier. You know, all the traps are out for the winter. Got a lot of line roaming around, a lot of buoys and everything. So there's got to be something good to make a photograph of. Let's go find a photograph. Because there's plenty of them around here. You know, if you get out of the car and just look around, look for close-ups, look for just about anything. There's all sorts of cool stuff to photograph. Lots of yellow traps. I don't know, boy. Let's see, what can I find? Got a plane sounding like it's gonna land on my head. Well, here's a nice setup of 3 buoys. 3 white buoys. Is that really worth it? Might be cool in black and white. Here, I'll show it to you. There we are, the 3 buoys. So I decided to use the RAW file and converted it inside Lightroom using the Acros Green profile. So with this shot here, I used the Mercury Kodachrome film simulation recipe out of Fuji X Weekly, and it came out great. And I underexposed it about 2/3. So this week we are talking about the X106 and whether or not it's worth buying or not. I like my XT5 right here with the 23 f2 on it. Works great. It basically does exactly the same thing. So if you wouldn't mind, please give me a like, thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel. That would be just great. And remember, in October, I've got a wonderful workshop with Fuji X photographer Bill Fortney. Bill Fortney, known throughout the world for his knowledge of photography, and he's a great guy to be with and do a workshop with. So that's going to be in October, and it is the fall Maine workshop of the coast of Maine. So check out kpnphototours.com/workshops, and that will get you there. So that's it for this week. And remember, it's not what you photograph, it's how you photograph it, as evidenced by what I was photographing here. So we'll catch you next time.